Last night, we got the sad news that I think many of us were expecting. DMZ is done. According to Activision in the Season 1 blog for Modern Warfare 3, the DMZ game mode will no longer receive any future updates. The game mode will continue to exist within Modern Warfare 2 and will be accessible through the Call of Duty HQ launcher, but there will be no future updates. There'll be no new map, it won't be added to Urzikstan, there won't be any new missions, there won't be any new weapons or anything like that. For all intents and purposes, the game mode is done. This is what Infinity Ward had to say on the subject. We would like to thank the entire community for their support and continued feedback on the DMZ beta. Infinity Ward and all the development teams who contributed to the creation of DMZ are incredibly proud and delighted to see the enthusiasm and participation that you've shown since its release, and so many players pouring into the Modern Warfare Zombies mode in Modern Warfare 3, which has many DMZ-inspired gameplay aspects within it. Beginning with next week's launch of Season 1, DMZ beta players can continue to play the mode via the Call of Duty Warzone section of COD HQ. The DMZ beta will remain fully playable across all current DMZ content, including Al Mazrah, Ashika Island, the Koshé Complex, Building 21, Vondel, as well as all DMZ missions. The mode will not be available or interact directly within Modern Warfare 3 or Call of Duty Warzone, which means that progression and any new Modern Warfare 3 or Warzone content, including Battle Pass or store bundles, will not sync or carry back into this DMZ mode. Also, DMZ progress will not apply to the new Battle Passes beginning with Modern Warfare 3 Season 1. We recognise that not having cross-progression with Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone may be frustrating for some players, but we felt now was the time to take all the learnings from the beta that we could apply towards future development efforts as we evolve this style of play. We also know that many players still enjoy the mode and wanted to ensure that everybody can keep playing, which is why we are keeping a variety of content available. Going forward, development teams will continue to evolve these dynamic open-world experiences into the future. We look forward to sharing updates when ready. Now, understandably, this is extremely disappointing news for pretty much every single DMZ fan out there. DMZ was a very unique mode within Call of Duty. They'd never done anything like it before, and it was a very casual, sort of very easy to access version of an extraction shooter, which I think at the moment in the FPS market, there isn't really anything else out there that offers that style of gameplay. But it did seem towards the end of DMZ's life cycle that we were getting fewer and fewer updates, and I myself had been saying for a couple of months that I wasn't sure if DMZ was really going to continue. And then a couple of months ago, we did get that notification from Infinity Ward that we would receive more information about the future of DMZ before Season 1, but within that statement, they said that DMZ will just continue on Al Mazrah and Vondel and Ashika Island. Basically, the statement that they've just given us today, they gave us a shorter version of that about a month and a half ago. So I was kind of already preparing for DMZ not to move forward into the future of Call of Duty, and I was a little bit sad about it, but at the same time, I'd kind of come to terms with it, because, as I said, the game mode didn't really get that many updates throughout Season 5 and Season 6. Having said that, though, it doesn't take away from the enjoyment that I've had playing DMZ over the last 12 months. I've really enjoyed streaming it. I've really enjoyed making videos on it. I pretty much got up every day, I messaged Stod, and I was like, do you want to play some DMZ today? And he was like, hell yeah, let's go. Let's go and do some missions. Let's go and kill some players. Let's go and, I don't know, start on the upgrades or whatever it happens to be. It was a really cool game mode for those story-based experiences. There was always a narrative running through every single round. You would spawn in, you'd have an idea of what you wanted to do, maybe you'd get started, and then suddenly, jeopardy. Something would change. A player would come over, an interaction, something different. Somebody did something before you which ruined your plan. And for the next 35 minutes, you were figuring out what to do to be able to complete what you needed or cut your losses and get out of there before the final exfil took off. It's a game mode that, like I said, is like no other in Call of Duty, and it just provided those epic moments that I've been looking for from a mode pretty much since the original Warzone came out on the Verdansk map all the way back in 2020. Those moments with my friends where things would just happen that you didn't expect because everything was so brand new and nobody really knew what they were doing in those first few months. You don't really get situations like that once a game mode starts to mature. And again, I think that plays into the fact that later on in DMZ's life cycle, things became more and more predictable. PvP became the main focus of the game mode, less people were interested in completing the missions, and I feel like there was less effort being put in by the developers to really push forward the narrative. Maybe they simply just got to the end of the content pipeline that they had planned for DMZ, but a decision had already been made in the background that they weren't going to go any further, so they kind of just whittled things down. I think probably the biggest thing that I'm thankful for having played so much DMZ over the last year or so is that it's opened my eyes to a completely different subgenre of FPS that I didn't realize I would enjoy so much, and that is the extraction shooter. I like the way that the round has an end point. There's always that final extraction. There's always an end condition, if you will, but I still get control over what I want to do. And there's always a little bit of danger, a little bit of tension in there, because most extraction shooters are about going in, completing missions, or collecting cool gear, and then trying to get out before other people notice you and try and take you out. It's not the, I have to be the best player on the server, Battle Royale, last man standing kind of thing, because that is the only way to play the Battle Royale. Pretty much, you have to try and be the last person alive. In an extraction shooter, you don't have to do that. I feel like you have more control over what you want to do within the game mode, and I think over the lifetime of DMZ, more features were added to give me a little bit of a sense of ownership of what I was doing. The upgrade system was probably one of the best parts they added to DMZ. They took all of those busy work missions from like Season 1 and Season 2. We needed to extract like 50 radiation blockers or whatever, and they threw it into an entire upgrade system that was like a completionist aspect, basically. It was something you could do if you wanted to, but you didn't have to. Now, there is one glimmer of hope that I would like to highlight, of course, at the end of the statement that was given by Infinity Ward about the future of DMZ. You do see them mention that they are going to take aspects that they've learned from the DMZ beta and try and move those forward into the future of the franchise and different game modes that maybe they're going to try and focus on and things like that. Let me read that bit of statement out to you again. Going forward, development teams will continue to evolve these dynamic open world experiences into the future. We look forward to sharing updates when ready. Now, if you take that statement and then have a look at the Season 1 overview of the new Warzone Urzikstan map, you're going to notice something in that image. If I zoom in right here and show you, you'll be able to see that there's something called Covert Exfil coming in Season 1 Reloaded, so that'll be halfway through Season 1, and it seems they're adding the weapons case into Warzone as well, which was a big DMZ feature in those first couple of seasons. If you extracted the weapons case, there would be cool cosmetics inside it. If you extracted it a bunch of times and worked towards something, you'd likely unlock a cool cosmetic or a weapon skin at the end for all your hard work. So there are elements of DMZ that are going to continue to exist, but of course the main game mode is sort of being put to bed. The Covert Exfil stuff, got absolutely no idea what that means. If they're adding like an exfil kind of thing into a round of Warzone where you can get out of the map before you get closer to the end, I don't really know what that means for Warzone overall, because suddenly it's not just a Battle Royale anymore, it's something very different. We're going to have to wait and see what they say about Covert Exfils coming in Season 1, but I thought I'd highlight that because those are clearly things that are DMZ inspired coming to the new Warzone Urzikstan map. So unfortunately, that's it. DMZ is over. I hate being the bearer of bad news, but I've kind of been preparing myself for this for the last few months because I just got that feeling when we looked at Season 5 and Season 6 and we didn't really see that many new features being added to the game mode. I just had this feeling that we were sort of reaching the end, which is why I've really put so much time into the Zombies game mode in Modern Warfare 3. It's very similar to DMZ. It's got very similar mechanics, but of course you do miss that PvP element, but I just had this feeling that DMZ wasn't going to be part of Modern Warfare 3. As soon as we got that announcement, just before COD Next, about how DMZ was only going to exist on the older maps, I just felt for sure that they weren't really going to change their mind. And as it turns out, they haven't changed their mind. The game mode is being sidelined. You'll still be able to play it, of course. You can launch COD HQ and you can play it through the Modern Warfare 2 section of the game, but I just have this feeling that as the months go on, the game mode will just get emptier and emptier, and unfortunately it'll be lost to time in the Call of Duty franchise. But thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate all the support you gave me on the DMZ stuff, and of course we'll be moving forward into Warzone Urzikstan next week with Season 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you soon.